You might have been told that the fetal heart rate monitor looked fine during labor. Maybe the notes say that your baby was tolerating labor well or that things were reassuring, but your baby was born with a brain injury and now you're wondering, how can both of these things be true at the same time? As a birth injury lawyer, I've read labor and delivery records from all over the country, and I'll tell you something that I see too often, and that is that the strip from the fetal heart monitor shows real signs of distress, but the nurse's chart may not match it. Instead of concern or action, the notes will say something like reassuring or reactive or no decelerations, even when the strip is telling a completely different story. All of this matters because those words on the chart can shape what may happen next in labor, whether a doctor gets called, whether the Pitocin is stopped, or whether a C-section is ordered. And when the chart is downplaying what is happening on the monitor, the results can be a delayed response. Sometimes the baby doesn't get the help that it needs in time. Now, here's something that a lot of people don't know. Not every category 2 fetal heart strip is going to be the same. That is the category that most fetal patterns will fall into, category 2, but it's not a one size fits all. Some category 2 strips are manageable and they can recover quickly. Others are on the edge of becoming a category 3, which means that the baby is in real trouble and action is urgently needed. The goal during labor is not to wait for a category 3 strip. The goal is to catch warning signs early and act before things get worse. That means paying attention to things like variability, watching for late decelerations or recurrent decels, noticing when the baby is not recovering well between contractions. It means treating the category strip with a lot more urgency than others when there are problems on the strip. But when the chart uses vague or overly positive language, those differences can become ignored. It becomes harder for the team to recognize when the baby is struggling. And if no one questions it, then the window to intervene can close extremely fast. I've seen patterns in these cases where babies were born with HIE. The strip looked worse than what the chart described. The baby's condition changed and no one responded fast enough to what was going on. Sometimes the parents were told that everything looked fine right up until that last minute. But when we line up the strip with the chart side by side and we look at the explanations, they just don't begin to hold up. If you're living through this right now, you might feel, a pit in your stomach thinking back to those moments during your labor. You may not have seen the monitor. You may have only heard calm voices and routine updates regarding everything. But now you're left wondering whether there was something that was missed during your labor. And that fear that there might have been a chance to protect your baby from their HIE or subsequent CP brain injuries, that fear can be real. I can't tell you what happened in your labor without reviewing the records and the strips and all of that type of stuff. But what I can tell you is this: when the chart says reassuring and the strip does not match and there's a disconnect there, that has to be looked at closely. Because in many cases, that gap is where the truth lies in these cases. If this is something that you're thinking about, give yourself some time to sit with it and think about it. You don't have to make decisions right now or right away, but you can begin to ask yourself, what happened? Does everything really match up in regards to what was going on? Sometimes the first step towards understanding is just giving yourself permission to be able to ask these types of questions. If you have these types of questions from a medical legal standpoint about your baby's HIE brain injury at birth or subsequent CP diagnosis, if you have these types of questions from a medical legal standpoint, don't hesitate to reach out and contact me. You can find out more information about me in my profile. My information is there. If you're watching this video on certain apps, you can send me a DM and we can chat a little bit about your baby story, or you could just wait and watch the picture that follows the end of this video. All right, that's going to be it for this afternoon's quick educational video. Have a great day, everybody.